Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Denise Salcedo, and it is March 29th, and today we are chatting about the NXT Stand and Deliver Go Home show, and we got a pretty decent show here tonight. I thought that the opener was really fun. The way that the show closed was really fun. Everything in the middle, though, was very forgettable, but I did think that it started out good, it finished out good, and I am looking forward to seeing a lot of these matches at NXT Stand and Deliver. So not only are we going to go over what occurred today on the show, but we're also going to go ahead and talk about the Stand and Deliver card and also share some of those predictions as well. Now, also, before I get into the show, for those of you who don't follow me yet on Twitter, you might have missed this announcement, but tomorrow, for the very first time ever on my YouTube channel, I am going to be doing WWE Wrestlemania 38 predictions with none other than Dave Meltzer. So I mentioned on here on one of my shows last week that I was going to have a pretty big guest for my WrestleMania prediction shows. It's confirmed. It's happening. Dave and I are going to be doing our first show together. We did a show, like a 5-person show over in Chicago. It was with Brian and Garrett and Andrew, and that was really fun. But this is going to be the first show where it's just Dave and I. So it's going to be pretty cool to see, how that all turns out. I'm very excited for it. That's going to be happening tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on my YouTube channel. And it's going to be a good time, everybody. On top of that, let's get this night started. Let's talk about NXT. So I'm kicking things off with our first super chat of the night. This is from Nick Grasso, a good friend of the show. Nick Grasso says, glad to see Raquel and Dakota back together, but it didn't make much sense. And I can see Raquel turning on Dakota. I guess Gigi isn't hurt like some people thought. I think the whole situation with Dakota Kai, it's based on what we saw here tonight, I'm assuming that they're going to be adding, because we don't have a match for the women's tag team titles yet, or do we? Okay, there you go. So it has been added. Toxic Attraction, Dakota Kai, and Raquel Gonzalez. It's listed on here as a pre-show match. So that is happening. For a second, I thought that wasn't happening. Okay, but it is happening. And I figured because with the way that things turned out today, with the way things played out, I'm not surprised. But here's the thing. It always goes back to the exact same thing. Dakota Kai is in this position where they almost don't know what else to do with her. They keep running back this whole thing with Raquel Gonzalez, and it doesn't make sense. And we'll talk a little bit more as to why it doesn't make sense once we actually get to it. But part of me is kind of glad, just because I really love Dakota and Raquel together. I'm personally glad that they're friends again, but at the exact same time, it's kind of like been there, done that, and we keep going back to the exact same thing for Dakota Kai. But again, we'll talk about that in just a second. Thank you so much to Nick Grasso. We actually have another super chat. This is from Cadillac Carson, who says, just want to say that if Cody Rhodey becomes a thing, I want a refund of all my super chats. Now let's have a great show. Also, congrats on the show with Dave. So for those of you who are wondering what the hell Cadillac Carson is talking about, so as you all know, I do the latest, which is, a new series that I'm doing here on F4W, where I do a couple minutes of a video recapping some of the latest stories. And so I was shooting today's video and I was talking about Cody Rhodes and, WrestleMania and Seth Rollins, right? That whole story. And I was, doing my spiel, and instead of saying Cody Rhodes, I said Cody Rhodey. I think I mixed in Rhodes with Cody, and I got Rhodey. So anyways, I posted that clip on Twitter, and it's got I think over 6,000 views. So now at least a good amount of people know about Cody Rhodey. Let's pray Vince McMahon does not see that clip And let's pray that we do not get Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, because people will be mad. Thank you so much to Nikkita Carson, though, for the very generous super chat. All right, guys. So let's get into this, everybody. Let's get into this show because, again, we did get some really good stuff. So we opened up the night with a pretty hot match between Imperium, a six-man between Imperium and LA Knight and MSK. I thought this was a really fun opener, especially with the way that they got things started, because Imperium was doing their entrance, and I swear to God, I'm not even lying to you guys right now. I swear, for a split second, because of the way the attack happened, Imperium was attacked from behind, but because they're so big and the angle that they do is so low for their entrance, it literally looked like Gunther fell on top of the camera. And if you by any chance did not watch this or didn't pay close enough attention, the clip is on WWE's Twitter account, and it swears it just looks like Gunther fell on top of the camera. It was great, but I was like, I didn't realize that it was an attack. I legitimately thought, what the hell? Either the camera guy fell or Gunther fell. Like, what's going on here? And then immediately I realized, oh, okay, it's an attack. But the angle, though, was hilarious about this. Interesting stuff during this match. So we want Gunther chants. I thought this was an interesting thing that we need to talk about here today, because for the most part, the CWC audience has still been referring to Gunther as Walter, and we've been getting Walter chants for the last several weeks. And so today is the first time that I recall them actually chanting, "We want Gunther." So it took a couple of weeks, but now the Gunther name is settling in, I believe. Not to everybody, but at least to the CWC. But it was so weird, though. It's one of those things where I was like, shit, we really are now in the Gunther era. But anyway, so that's something to point out. The CWC audience is now referring to Walter as Gunther, which technically they should be, because that's his name now. Don't shoot the messenger. Anyways, this was fun. One of the things that I personally liked, which I wasn't expecting to like, because I already said this last week, guys, and I still feel this way, okay? I still legitimately feel this way. I said this last week, but I cannot buy LA Knight defeating Gunther, okay? I said that last week. I still feel the exact same way. However, I do want to give them credit, because during this match, they had this like exchange between them, one of which was my favorite, literally just watching Gunther chop LA Knight. He chopped him a few times, but it was the third time that really, really got him. But regardless, there were some other moments during this match between both of these guys where the crowd, the CWC crowd, was really, really invested in this LA Knight Gunther like stare off when they had like their moment in the ring. And the way that the crowd reacted made it feel a lot harder. Where like me, who's a viewer at home, I'm probably not completely sold on it because of the way that the CWC audience reacted. It kind of made me go, okay, you know what? These people are enjoying it. So let's see how this plays out. I am curious as to what the reaction is going to be when they're at the American Airlines Center for NXT Stand and Deliver, because this is going to be, their biggest crowd in a very, very long time. And, people from all over, not their traditional CWC, people. So I am curious as to how they're going to react to Gunther. Obviously, we're going to get Walter chants, I'm assuming. And I'm curious is if whether or not people are going to root for LA Knight, because LA Knight has been getting cheered a lot on the CWC. So I'm curious to see how that's going to translate and how people are going to feel about Gunther and LA Knight in come the pay-per-view on Saturday. So that's going to be interesting. The other things that I loved was really just, MSK going out there, striking the hell out of Wagner with all of those kicks. That was really fun. Really cool combos that we saw here. There was a dive from Nash Carter that he completely overshot, where I was like, kind of a little nervous, but whatever. There was a brutal boot from Eichner to Wesley, and then a clothesline from Nash Carter for the official win. So again, this was a fun win. They're building up LA Knight and Gunther. It seems to be working. So I guess this was definitely a thumbs up segment for everybody involved here today. Let's go ahead and see what people are saying in regards to this. This is from Justin Martin, who says, I loved Carter doing a crazy dive to the outside, immediately followed by Walter knocking out Lee with a kick to the face. Perfectly summed the contrast in styles and characters. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one here. We got a lot of people putting over NXT today as well. And this is Brandon Rosen, who says, I think the fans would rather cheer Gunther than MSK. No, they've been cheering MSK now for a while. I think that MSK, like heat or like beef that they were getting, like the negative reactions that they were getting from the fans at the CWC has definitely died down. It's been ever since they did that whole like shaman thing and they were gone for a couple of weeks. When they returned after that, the crowd has been behind them. So I don't feel like they have to really worry about that anymore, to be honest. Like I haven't noticed anything too troubling with them like booing MSK or anything like that. Alrighty, cool. So let's go ahead and continue on from here. We get a quick backstage segment where Dakota Kai is looking for Wendy Chu, and we now know that Toxic Attraction essentially got rid of Wendy Chu, but we just don't know where she is. Dakota Kai finds her things tossed on the floor, her little pillow, her little sleeping mask. It was also very sad. So we do not know where Wendy Chu is, and I don't know when we'll see her again. I don't know. But now let's get into this next match. And this next match that we had was a women's match between Ivy Nile and Tiffany Stratton. So there was a lot that I actually ended up really liking in this match. Now, I'm probably going to forget about this match by like the end of the day, maybe even tomorrow. I'll probably forget about it, right? But the point that I do want to make here is that Ivy Nile, you know, when we first started seeing her on the Diamond Mine, when we first started seeing her in NXT, they were keeping the matches very, very short for her, okay? And that's fine. We all get why they were keeping the matches short and whatnot, but they were keeping them very short. So I think part of me, I really didn't feel like I could develop an opinion about Ivy Nile just because I legitimately didn't feel like I had seen enough of Ivy Nile. But today, in this match against Tiffany Stratton, it was still a pretty short match, but it kind of felt a little lengthier than some of her other matches for some reason. Whether or not it was, I'm not entirely sure because I didn't time this. But what I do want to say, though, is that this was the first match where I really feel we saw more from Ivy Nile, where like today, I can legitimately say that we are seeing improvement from Ivy Nile. Like there was a lot that she did here. She had a really nice like strike combo that she did. All of these kicks from Ivy Nile. We just saw her like target all of these different body parts for Tiffany Stratton. I was a huge fan of that. There was a moment where she did like a running kick straight to the face of Tiffany Stratton. I really liked that. So even just kind of seeing her like enforce more of her striking, I thought that was pretty enjoyable to see. So for me, I kind of liked this match legitimately just because I got to see a little bit more of Ivy Nile. Like I feel like I became an Ivy Nile fan today, whereas before I was really indifferent. I didn't have an opinion. I now do. Now, as for the finish, though, the finish was your typical, WWE finish. We have Sarai coming out, distracting Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton's like, looking like she's seen a ghost. Okay, so Ivy Nile ends up locking her into a submission, gets the win. Tiffany Stratton taps out, and that's the end of the story here. So the finish was generic in terms of generic WWE generic, but I did like what we saw from Ivy Nile here today. So I did want to take a second of putting that over here. And let's go ahead and see what we got here. There is, we got a lot of different comments here. This one is from Tony, who says, this match was fantastic. Special thanks to the Transform Sarai's most epic distraction. Ivy Nile is still undefeated. Sorry, Tiffany. Yeah, she's been undefeated. I don't recall her losing any matches she's undefeated. Yeah. I was going to say, I don't recall her losing any matches, but then again, I might have forgotten. All right, let's go ahead and see what else we got here. Let's see what people are saying. We got, this is from Bonkers LFC, who says, Wendy Chu got screwed out of a title shot. Yeah, I feel bad for Wendy Chu because, she, for the most part, like her character could have easily like flopped. It could have been like disastrous, but she legitimately made it work both character wise, but also like in the ring, like incorporating her character with, she has a big task, guys. She's supposed to be this like sleepy, lazy kind of gal. And, she's going out there and she's wrestling, but at the exact same time, she still has to cater to her character. And so she was handed a difficult task with that character. And I think she did a pretty good job with what she was, supposed to do, all the marks that she was supposed to essentially hit. But, yeah, I do feel bad for Wendy Chu as well, because I like Wendy Chu, guys. I think people again, this is the Wendy Chu character on paper could have easily been trashed. Like, it could have been trashed. People would have been like, what the hell? Like, you're really going to do that to her? Throw this in the garbage. But for the most part, if you're watching NXT, it was working. It was lovable. It was fine. But again, poor Wendy Chu. We don't know what's going up with Wendy Chu, but we got a lot of people here putting over Wendy Chu. Bobby C says she got the character over, but wonder if some residue from the Mei Lee character is crashing. No, I think she did such a good job of like everything being distinguished, Alrighty, so from here, let's go ahead and move on. So after this, we got a video package with Dolph Ziggler. I liked this. Again, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Dolph Ziggler being NXT champion, but I've made my peace. I've already argued that on another show, but I will say this. I loved today's video package. I loved it because it was just really showing Dolph Ziggler like being super douchey, and I like that. He's going out there, talking about all of, the belts and stuff that he has won and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But then he basically, there was one line that really, really got me. And I liked it because he basically said that, he was doing all of the media interviews ahead of his match with Braun Breaker, and that Braun Breaker was a nobody. And so that's why he wasn't going to be doing any interviews. It was a simple line, but it was enough to get the character over and to really establish that, Dolph Ziggler's kind of a douche and you shouldn't like him. So I thought they did a good job of getting the point across during this video package. On top of this, I also liked when he said that this was, that the NXT Championship was the genesis to the second portion of his career. So this was fine. He's going out there basically saying that, Braun Breaker's not going to take the title away from him, for people not to expect it. Cool. All right. Fine. I thought the video package was really good. Now, let's see what people are saying. We're still talking about Wendy Chu. But before I move on from Wendy Chu here, guys, just a friendly reminder for those of you who are here right now on this stream. Tomorrow, I will be back to talk about AEW Dynamite. So it's going to be a fun show. Come in here tomorrow night. And then Friday, I will not be here this Friday. So don't come in here looking for me on Friday and be like, wow, Denise really no-showed her own show. No, I will be at Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor. So I will not be here on Friday. But now, let's go ahead and continue on. Tommaso Ciampa cuts a promo backstage, and he has kind of already been alluding to the fact that he's not going to be in NXT for much longer. He's mentioned saying, that he's going to possibly have his own fairy tale ending and all of this. He's already mentioned this in previous promos, but today he really hit it a little extra hard here. He basically says that, he's teasing that NXT Stand and Deliver is essentially going to be, that's it. Like, that's going to be his last match. He said, quote, "We will create that magic one final time." So he's basically saying, that's it. Afterwards, he gets up, and on the chair, we see the words, the dates written, September 9th, 2015, and April 2nd, 2022, which will be, the start and the finish of this period of Ciampa in NXT. Given the way that things have been going on NXT 2.0, I think Tommaso Ciampa did a really good job of fitting in with this new era. He could have been like easily left out cold because, he's so, when you think of the black and gold era, one of the guys that you think about is Ciampa. But so with that being said, like, he could have easily been like forgotten about during this new era of NXT, but he's so damn good at his job. He did a lot of good stuff with Braun Breaker. And now from the looks of it, I'm assuming he's, I don't know, possibly going to the main roster. Who knows? But I do want to say that it is kind of a little bit bittersweet. It's a little bittersweet, but It was time. It's time. There's not much else left for Ciampa to do on either version of NXT, whether it was the black and gold version of NXT or this new version of NXT. His NXT time has seriously, it's expired. It's expired for sure. But let's go ahead and see what people are saying. Putting over the promo, I agree with that as well. It was a good promo for him. And Zeno Hour says Cody Rhodes is Ciampa's SmackDown name. Oh, Cody Rhodey. Oh God. Oh God. No, that would be terrible. Cody Rhodey on anybody. Sean Williams says Ciampa name change is happening. I'm pretty sure. Brandon Rosen says I pray for Ciampa's main roster run. Justin says Ciampa leaving the chair there with the date of his NXT debut, and Saturday's date was a powerful moment. Yeah, I agree, guys. I agree. And you know, if he does go to the main roster, I kind of want to see him go to, you know, he did appear on Raw and all of that, but I do want to see him go to SmackDown, literally just because, oh God, they really need people there, guys. Like, they need people there. So that's the only reason why I'm saying he should go to SmackDown, because they need bodies over there. They need them desperately. But now, let's go ahead and move on from here. After this, we got Legado del Fantasma, Raul Mendoza, and Joaquin Wilde taking on Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. So, I've been saying this for the longest freaking time. I sound like a broken record, but Legado del Fantasma is always in the shadows of somebody else, okay? I feel like nobody is ever talking about how good they are. Like, I never see anybody and maybe I'm not, well, I was going to say maybe I'm not on wrestling Twitter. I'm always on wrestling Twitter, but I'm not on wrestling Twitter the way that you think I'm on wrestling Twitter. Like, I'm on wrestling Twitter, but on my notifications. Like, I'm not going out and reading other people's comments and stuff like that. So from what I have seen on wrestling Twitter, I never see anybody talking about Legado del Fantasma, and it bumps me out because they should be talked about. Through and through, they've been a pretty good team throughout everything that we've seen from them on NXT. And today was literally just another example of them going out there, you know, having some nice little spots and also making the other team look better. Like Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen literally looked really good in this match, mainly because you saw Legado del Fantasma doing all of the, you know, the high flying type of stuff, but then you saw them coming in as these big guys and kind of, you know, bringing them down and making them look like just that much stronger. So personally, I love this. There was a lot of good stuff. Things that I want to put over, the speed from Raul Mendoza during this match was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, my eyes, they were following him in the ring, you know. On top of this, there was a fun little spot where we saw Mendoza holding himself up vertically on the outside of the ring on the ring post. This is the ring post and this is his body. Sorry, I don't know how else to describe this, but he was out there really showing that freaking upper body, core strength, man. I don't know, but it looked really good. Dropped an elbow. I forgot if it was on Josh Briggs or Briggs Jensen, but the point is it was a pretty cool little show-off spot, which I very much enjoyed. After this, we ended up seeing the girls battle it out on the outside. We saw Fallon. Oh my gosh, what do they call her? Fallon Henley? Fallon Henley? Yeah, there you go. Fallon Hendry? Fallon. Oh my God, what's her name again? Fallon something. Hendry? All right, somebody remind me in the chat. Anyway, so she's out there and she's battling it out with Elektra Lopez. And so they're doing their thing. This kind of distracts Wilde, who's on the top rope. He's distracted for a second. You know, he's about to do something, but he sees the girls on the outside fighting. So he basically, thank you, Xena Hour and Brandon and Cadillac and Tony and everybody else. Henley. Thank you. I'm like, Henry, what is it? Something with an H. Fallon Henley and Elektra Lopez battling it out on the outside. Distracts Wilde for a second, but he still ends up hitting a 450, really perfectly executed, except that he is caught by Briggs. Briggs gets him in a choke slam, choke slams him, and afterwards he gets the tag. He tags Jensen in. Jensen gets into the ring, clotheslines Wild, and gets the win. So it really made them look like badasses. Like, it made Josh Briggs and Briggs Jensen look really good in this match. But Legado del Fantasma really did a whole lot of the work there, really adding a lot of sizzle to this match. They added so much. They added a lot of glitter, a lot of sparkle. Yeah. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and move on from here, guys. And Devin says she's still Tasha Price to me. I was going to say that. I was going to say Tasha Price. What's her name in WWE? You know what? You know what it is? Fallon Henley is not an easy name to say. If you think about it, that it's not an easy name. Fallon Henley. I don't know. It's not an easy name. But neither is Elektra Lopez. For the longest time, I was calling her Carmen Electra. I think 3 times I called her Carmen Electra. Alrighty. Anyways, I'm done complaining. All right, let's move on from here. Alrighty. After this, we get the attraction, Toxic Attraction. They come out. I just got to say something. I'm going to sound like a mark. I'm going to sound like a fangirl. I don't care, man. I bloody love Toxic Attraction. I know a lot of people, when they started doing this Toxic Attraction stuff, people were like, ill. They're just doing like the sexy girl thing to like appeal to the young guys. And, for the longest time, we were seeing them in the commercials with their, sultry close-ups and this and that. But I feel that deep down inside, I have not let out the Toxic Attraction fangirl that it is inside of me. There is a Toxic Attraction fangirl living inside of me that is yearning to come out, okay? I want to come out as a big fan of Toxic Attraction. I bloody love them, all right? And the reason why I like them so much is because they're cool, man. They're cool chicks. There's some stuff that I haven't liked that they've done, but I do like the presentation of them. I think that Gigi Dolan does such a great job at being the she's so edgy and, she's cool and mysterious. And, when she comes out, she has that, she just has the rock star vibe. I want to be Gigi Dolan when she comes out, okay? And then on top of that, you have JC Jane. She's kind of I would say if you were going to rank them, I'd probably, rank her, the third most interesting one to me. But regardless, she's just super cool too, But brunette Mandy Rose has just done a spectacular job. And a lot of people were not happy with her becoming NXT Women's Champion. And I get it because it's totally different from, what you would expect from your NXT Women's Champion, right? But she legitimately busted her butt. She worked so hard. She's been doing a good job with what she's been told to do. So I'm a fan of this Mandy Rose. So the promo that she cut today, pretty lengthy promo. I liked it. I thought she did a good delivery of it. She's getting the point across, and that's what I personally like from Toxic Attraction. But she basically talks about, defending her title in a fatal 4-way and basically says, she's the baddest bitch. She's going to humiliate Cora Jade. She's going to get rid of Io Shirai, and that she is going to send Kaylee Ray back into the bridge that she came from. So I was a big fan of this. She's going to cement her legacy as NXT Women's Champion, according to her. Good stuff there. Afterwards, they basically revealed that they, had when Gigi Dolan had Wendy Chu's items in her bag. So we don't know technically what's happening with Wendy Chu, but they are responsible for it. And let's see what else we got here. After this, we got the big moment with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. So Dakota Kai has been looking for her partner, Wendy Chu. And we, again, don't know where she's at. We do know Toxic Attraction had something to do with it since they had her things. Okay, so Dakota Kai comes out running in like a mad woman. She doesn't care. She's pissed off. She's looking for her friend. She knows Toxic Attraction did it. So, she's willing to fight them. Cool. So Dakota Kai comes in red hot, but she's obviously outnumbered. She's able to land a couple of punches on Mandy Rose, but it's not enough. She's outnumbered. And then after this, we end up seeing Raquel Gonzalez return. Raquel was taken out during the tournament, during the Dusty Cup Women's Tournament. She was taken out by Toxic Attraction. So she was out for like maybe 1 or 2 weeks or so, if I remember correctly. So she comes back and she is not necessarily there to help out Dakota Kai per se. She's there more so to get revenge on Toxic Attraction. So when we end up, they end up clearing out the ring, Toxic Attraction, leaves after that. And we get this moment between Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. And we're wondering, what's going to happen? We all know the history between these two girls, former best friends, turned enemies. And, they went there, when Raquel Gonzalez was NXT Women's champion, they had their whole feud. And so they're in the ring. We still have this crazy Dakota Kai who is, apparently has like multiple personalities. So she's out there with Raquel. And I'm wondering, like, okay, are they gonna team up together? That's what I was sensing. Like, I was sensing that they weren't going to be on bad terms. Like that, it was immediately like you felt it, like you knew that they were going to be friends again, but always you're not too entirely sure. So then finally, they end up hugging it out, and it's this big reunion of, oh my God, we're friends again, woohoo, and this and that, right? But it doesn't necessarily make too much sense. It doesn't make too much sense because for multiple reasons. As of late, this whole thing that basically made Dakota Kai crazy is she's been going, she's been having all of these segments backstage where she goes up to partners, she goes up to friends, and she's like, you shouldn't be trusting of people. Like, don't do this. I don't trust people, this and that. And, all crazy and stuff. And, she's still been like, she's still been on that side of things. But I think because now she's essentially a babyface with Wendy Chu, I feel like that's the reason why they essentially, made her friends again with Raquel Gonzalez. But yeah, it doesn't make total sense to the character of Dakota Kai and to the story of her and Raquel Gonzalez, because for like, even when Dakota Kai came back, she still cost Raquel Gonzalez, her match and her title against Mandy Rose. So it's this whole thing. They've had a long history, but I guess they officially buried the hatchet out of nowhere and are friends again. So take that for what you will. And it's been listed on here that we're going to be seeing Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez now against Toxic Attraction. So Wendy Chu seems to be out of this picture. So we skipped a couple of steps, is what I'm saying, for Dakota Kai and Raquel to essentially rekindle this relationship. Like, there could have been more done till we got to the rekindling portion of it, but it's fine. They're friends again. Thumbs up. All right, let's go ahead and see what people are saying about this whole thing here and how you guys felt about all of this. Let's see, we got so many questions here. This is from King of Fuego Mundo, who says, to me, Toxic Attraction has done nothing to prove that they're championship material. WWE does stuff like this to bring up the ratings on making a team that looks good. Sad to say. They had some pretty, decent matches. Like, there was some decent stuff there, but if you're expecting this super workhorse of a team, that's not what they are. Like, I like them for different reasons. Let's go ahead and see what else we got here. And Isaac Looper says, yeah, aren't older men their demographics? So much for catering to teen boys. We've discussed this whole teen boys thing. Like, this is not, I know teenage boys. There's a lot of them here in my family, and we've talked about this before. Like, I don't ever see them watching a show because, oh, the hot ladies are on the show. Like, they watch dumb stuff, which I've talked about before on this show. So, like, if they want to cater to teens, they got to put out some, to teen boys, rather, they got to put out some, wacky stuff out there. For teen girls, honestly, I personally think it's just harder to attract a young female viewer because that's just not, wrestling is not something that's in their radar. Teenage girls are focusing on other things, like music and, what's on Netflix and stuff like that, and makeup and denim jeans and, crop tops and all of that. I know this. I used to be a teenage girl back in the day. But, regardless, I feel like with girls, and this is something I don't feel like people talk about this enough, but with girls, I noticed that a lot of the women that became wrestling fans, it was because somebody else got them into it, or because they started watching it when they were a lot younger, or like, there's a lot of people that are obviously fans of like Nikki and Brie Bella. But for the most part, I feel like a lot of women became fans because maybe their brothers watched, or, in my case, my uncle, like a family member that got you into wrestling. Like, I just don't imagine, and I'm sure there's people out there, right? But I just don't imagine, like, very many like teenage girls just going like flipping the channels and be like, oh, wrestling's on, I'm gonna watch it. I just don't see it. Maybe for boys a little bit more, but who knows? All right. Let's go ahead and see what else we got here about what people are saying. This is from Bonkers, who says, stupid that Dakota and Raquel reunite. Why feud months ago than just to reunite? Because there's nothing else for Dakota Kai to do, apparently. I don't think so. I think she should be competing for the women's championship. I don't even think she should be on NXT. I think she should be on Raw or SmackDown, kicking ass there, but that's just my opinion there. Justin says, Raquel and Dakota reuniting was a nice, happy moment. Nothing on any WWE show has to make too much sense. I would like it if they did make sense of it, guys. I would like that. And let's go ahead and jump into our next topic here. I don't even want to talk about this, but whatever. We got Bodhi Hayward versus Von Wagner. Oh, I completely tuned out of this. This was a quick victory from Von Wagner. They had Jacket Time doing commentary during this. This felt like a circus to me. This felt like a circus. It was just, this random match between Bodhi Hayward and Von Wagner. Cool. Okay, we see Von Wagner get the win. All right, that was expected. And then afterwards, he beats the crap out of Ike Manjiro and rips up his jacket. I feel this entire match was made just so we can get that visual of Von Wagner ripping up a jacket. Just to show that he's strong and he can rip up a jacket. Honestly, that's what I feel this whole thing was for. There's nothing else I want to say about that. Draco Anthony versus Joe Gacy. And this was kind of like bad timing in like terms of having these two matches back to back, because there were two matches I did not care about. Draco Anthony versus Joe Gacy. It's been a hot minute since we see Joe Gacy wrestle on NXT. I believe his last match was back in early February against LA Knight, and I don't even remember that match, but that match happened. He's been competing on Level Up. I don't watch Level Up, so I can't add to that. Draco Anthony, this is his fourth match on NXT. He's sort of been like the designated jobber, where he just jobs to like everybody on NXT. He's officially taken L's from Harland, Pete Dunne, and even Andre Chase. So that's pretty much all there is to say about that. Prior to that, he was competing on 205 Live. For the win, Joe Gacy hits his finisher, that clothesline, and that's it. There's nothing else much more to say about that. So yeah, I think this was my least favorite portion of the show, because we got Bodhi Hayward and Von Wagner, followed by Draco Anthony and Joe Gacy. So I was like, okay. And now, everybody's favorite, Nikita Lyons. She's got the new Roar gimmick. That's what she's doing now. She's now doing the Roar. And it's funny because I should have seen it coming, because I was looking at the lineup on WWE.com to see what was going to happen on NXT today so that I can decide who to put on this thumbnail. And there was a little thing that said, Nikita Lyons comes to NXT to roar, or it was Nikita Lyons comes to roar to NXT, something like that. And I'm like, oh my God, because they're not doing the little roar with Bearcat Keith Lee. Now they're doing it with Nikita Lyons. Now she's doing the Roar. So anyway, so she has this match against Sloane Jacobs. Now, I don't know how many of you guys here watch Riverdale or have ever seen the cast of Riverdale. I swear to God, Sloane Jacobs looks exactly like Madeline Pesh from Riverdale. Oh my gosh, I forget her character name, but her real actress name is Madeline Pesh. And I love that woman. She is adorable as hell. So I was very excited to see Sloane Jacobs looking like Madeline Pesh. Really, really like it. Really liked her is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, so this match, I mean, Jesus. Commentary is really pushing how popular Nikita Lyons is, how popular she is on social media, and people like to look at her pictures. That is what Wade said during commentary. This was a nothing match, though. Absolutely nothing of note. She ends up hitting her splits on Sloane and gets that very provocative win over Sloane, and that's about it. After this match, Lash Legend appears on screen. She appears on the screen, and they've been telling the story now for like the last maybe month. They've been telling the story with Lash Legend, but they hadn't actually done anything. They didn't do anything last week with them. I don't remember about the week before. So there was a nice little gap where like they started this whole thing with Lash Legend and Nikita Lyons, but then they kind of hit pause on that, and now we're kind of returning back to it. This is literally just Lash Legend basically saying that they have unfinished business. Okay, yeah, they do. And that she's better than her in every way possible. And that was it. That was absolutely it. So, yeah. Cheryl Blossom. Thank you guys so much. Everybody here always has the names. Yes, Cheryl Blossom. That is Madeline Pesch's name in Riverdale, and that is exactly who Sloane Jacobs reminded me of. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I stopped watching Riverdale like the last season, but I did watch like the first, I think 3-4 seasons. Yeah, but yeah, Cheryl. She looks just like her. Go back and look. All right, let's go ahead and continue on from here. This was my favorite part of the show, and it was the main event, which I absolutely loved. If you did not watch NXT, go out of your way to watch this match. This match was fun. If you just want to, get the vibe of NXT, this was a good match. This was the triple threat for the final spot in the men's NXT North American ladder match taking place at Stand and Deliver, okay? So we had all the losers of the qualifying matches in this match here was Cameron Grimes versus Roderick Strong versus A-Kid. And dude, this match was really, really fun, okay? This was hot action through and through. Each guy got their moment to shine during this. Let me see. There were some things that I wrote down that I particularly liked that kind of stood out to me. As for A-Kid, he's had an impressive, 3 weeks on NXT, so good for him. I like that they've been slowly, easing him in a positive way into the show. He has really nice drop kicks. Wanted to point that out. He dropped some drop kicks on both men. They looked good. Cool. There was also a moment where we kept seeing Cameron Grimes as sort of this launching pad for A-Kid, because A-Kid was literally using Cameron Grimes' body to execute all of these cool moments in this match, going out there and hitting the Hurricanrana on Roderick Strong. That was really good. So I liked how they sort of coordinated all of that. That was really fun. There was a moment where Roderick Strong tried to do the Boston Crab on both guys. Didn't end up working out. I didn't really like that spot. That was the only moment I didn't like in this match, just because it looked like something really cool was about to happen, and then it didn't happen. So I did kind of feel just a tiny bit for that split second, a little bit let down, but everything else was good. We had A-Kid do a tornado DDT on the outside of the ring to Cameron Grimes. That was really fun. And in the end, we do end up seeing Cameron Grimes get the win. But basically what this was just you see the teacup spinning at Disneyland, and you just see things intertwine, intertwining. That is exactly what we got during this match. This was like the teacups ride at Disneyland, okay? We just see them intertwining and doing all of these cool moves back and forth, and each guy doing their own thing. This was really, really fun. Cameron Grimes, like I said, gets the win, and now he's been added into that match. Good for him. I'm glad. I'm really glad. I think if I was originally rooting for A-Kid here, but if it wasn't A-Kid, I'm glad that it was Cameron Grimes, because he is freaking awesome, and I really enjoy watching Cameron Grimes wrestle. So personally, I was happy about the outcome for this. We're gonna do our NXT North. Our NXT North American predictions, our NXT Stand and Deliver predictions in just a second. I do have a super chat to read from Brandon Rosen, who says, The right guy won this match. I really hope Cameron Grimes takes the title at Stand and Deliver. I'm going to say no. Only just because I really do love Carmelo Hayes too, but I would. Okay, let me just say I wouldn't. Okay, let me do these predictions, and I need a couple more seconds to think here, guys. I'm not completely set. Like, I started off feeling very passionate about my decision, and then I started mentally arguing with myself. All right, but let's do this. All right, so matches for NXT Stand and Deliver is going to be an early start time. I do not know when I am watching this show, but I will watch it before next week's Stand and Deliver. Jesus Christ. Before next week's NXT show, because I'm obviously going to have to know what happened on the show. But anyway, so we got Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane versus Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. This is going to be interesting because, again, we weren't expecting to see Dakota Kai teaming up with Raquel Gonzalez. So this kind of changes things. Like, if it was Dakota Kai and Wendy Chu, I might have been like, you know what? Let's give it to Dakota Kai and Wendy Chu. Let's switch things up here a little bit. But now that it's Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, I'm not really sure how I feel about them being tag team champions once again. Like, it gives them both something to do, but at the same time, because I feel like Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, like, they started off like doing pretty good as champions, but they haven't really done much since, like, in recent weeks. So I am a little bit bored of them being champions per se. So I kind of feel like this one, man, like, we can really rock things up and be like, okay, where are we going with Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez? But at the exact same time, I do want Gigi and JC to be like this start. You know what? I'm going to say, screw it. Let's cause the stir. Let's put it on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. That's where I'm going with this one. I can't decide. The Fatal 5-Way ladder match for the NXT North American Championship. We have Carmelo Hayes, who's the champion, against Santos Escobar, Solo Sikoa, Grayson Waller, and Cameron Grimes. So, kind of going off of Brandon Rosen's super chat, if Carmelo Hayes does not, Carmelo Hayes retaining is my first preferable option for the outcome of this match. If it's not Carmelo Hayes, I would like to see Cameron Grimes win this. And let's just say it's not Carmelo Hayes or Cameron Grimes, then I would go with Santos Escobar. But I don't really care to see Solo Sikoa or Grayson Waller win this one. So I would say Carmelo Hayes, number one pick, then Cameron Grimes. On top of this, we got Tommaso Ciampa versus Tony D'Angelo. If this is going to be a swan song, if this is going to be the farewell for Tommaso Ciampa, then I'm expecting to see Tony D'Angelo win this. I kind of wish they would add a stipulation for this match, though, just because, so many of Tony D'Angelo's matches have had stipulations. For some reason, I want to see that continue. But then again, Tommaso Ciampa's going to, make sure this match is really good. So, but I definitely do think we're going to end up seeing Tony D'Angelo get the win here. Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's Championship. Mandy Rose versus Cora Jade versus Io Shirai versus Kaylee Ray. Cora Jade also had a really great video package that showed earlier on today's show, which I was a fan of because she's talking about how, she was not paying attention in math class and instead she was writing in her notebook. I thought, yep, relatable. Io Shirai, been there, done that with her as champion. Kaylee Ray would be interesting to see her become champion. So I'm going to go. I either think Mandy Rose is going to retain, and if she doesn't retain, I have a feeling we're going to see Kaylee Ray win the title. But then again, they have been putting a lot of focus on Cora Jade. I think this could go any direction except for Io Shirai. I don't see Io Shirai winning this match. So I do see either of the other women, but I don't see it happening for Io Shirai here. Triple threat tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championship. We have Imperium versus the Creed Brothers versus MSK. Imperium defending their titles. I think this should go to the Creed Brothers. I think the Creed Brothers, they need this win. I would go with the Creed Brothers for this one. Dolph Ziggler, Braun Breaker. This is going to be interesting. I think if Dolph Ziggler wins, I think we can expect to see Braun Breaker possibly at the Raw after Mania. If Braun Breaker wins, then I I have a feeling Dolph Ziggler's going to retain. I have a feeling. Possibly. Yeah, I think Dolph Ziggler is going to retain here. Man, I feel like all these champions are retaining, so somebody's going to have to change. Some title's going to have to change hands for sure. But yeah, I have a feeling if Braun Breaker's going to Raw, that he's going to take this L to Dolph Ziggler. But we'll see. I don't think he should take the L to Dolph Ziggler. I think Braun Breaker should win. But if we're going to see him on the main roster, then chances are it's going to be Dolph. LA Knight versus Gunther. It better be Gunther, or I will just be like, done. So, and it's probably going to be LA Knight because I just said that. Jinx myself. Alrighty, guys, there you go. That is the entire card for NXT Stand and Deliver, everybody. Thank you guys so much, as always, for joining me each and every single week to chat about NXT 2.0. Again, I will be back next week to talk about NXT 2.0. Tomorrow, I will be back for AEW Dynamite, but earlier in the day, if you missed this earlier, I did say tomorrow on my YouTube channel at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, I am going to be live with Dave Meltzer on my YouTube channel doing WWE WrestleMania 38 predictions. You're not going to want to miss that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then don't come find me here this Friday because I will not be here, but I will be back next Friday for my normal slate of shows on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Other than that, make sure to check out the latest here on F4W Online. And until next time, I will see you guys tomorrow night. Bye, everybody.